Okay, hi everybody. Surprisingly, there's no good field guide to the sounds of North American mammals or Pennsylvania mammals. So I started with some common and easily accessible ones. Our leader in biomass, the white-tailed deer. The sound of deer that I hear the most often is the snort. Depending on what they're standing on, you can often hear the sound of their foot stamping as well when they're doing that. One that I haven't heard, but I know that other nocturnal flight call birders have recorded is this grunt that the bucks do. That's cool. Um, there's a lot of recordings of coyotes. They have these different kinds of barks and yips and wails. This is a little bit soft, but this is recordings. Many interesting noises that can come out of coyotes, but usually they're in this complex group series, at least as far as I've heard them. I'm sure there's a lot more variety that haven't recorded. Red fox, I'm sure makes a lot of different noises, but this has an example. And here we have a gray fox example. Raccoons are quite vocal and frequently heard. Um, Here's one example. I'm not a big fan of these feeding stations, but you hear these little trills that they make. Here at my home, I got a handful of recordings at different times. This is one example. I've never heard a skunk make a noise, and I don't know if this is something that people commonly experience in the field, but I thought it was interesting. So it's kind of cool in case anybody ever hears it. Much more commonly experienced in the field. These chipmunk noises are very common. This deep clucking sound is one of them. And then another one that we hear a lot is this. I've also recorded their twitters, but I don't have that called up here. Usually their twitters end with this anyway. Those sharp notes. I remember taking a long time to figure out what that was as a kid in the woods. Gray squirrel has a bunch of different calls, but this is one of their main alarm calls. Often red-tailed hawk nearby when you're hearing this. I'll have to build out a more thorough repertoire of their calls. Red squirrel, the basic trill. scolding me with that, and often at first, when first walking up on them, they give these little noises. Again, it's sort of a alarm type of thing. A lot of little squeaks in there. Yeah, those squeaks. Southern flying squirrel, if you're out at night, is quite a common um, sound of the forest at night. Um, is recorded.
LNS catalog note.
So that's a good one to learn. Groundhog, I think, is also a study requirement for the birders. Um, uh, that initial peep is quite common to hear. The trill at the end is generally harder to hear. Definitely should know that one. Porcupine, I don't know how often people really hear this out in the woods. I've never heard it. And I spend a lot of time in areas with porcupines, so not really sure. If you hear that in the woods, now you'll know. Anyway, there's a lot more to be added, but I thought this was a good start to begin setting out what are the typical sounds of Pennsylvania mammals. Thanks and have a good night. Definitely big appreciation to everybody who posted all these videos and recordings on YouTube by Naturalist and Macaulay. Supporting some of these groups would be welcome.